on any public property without my knowledge.
But there is nothing which has been done.
Because this road here, I need to know who is doing it. You can see now what is happening.
Actually, it is the reason we have called them. We have called them.
And you are part of this.
No.
Town Clerk, I know you.
RCC,
you are part of this. How can something of this nature happen, of this magnitude, happen in this division when you are there?
No. RCC, no.
Please, I don't want to.
No. Something.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the reason I've called the gentleman.
Do I sleep here?
I have even called him. He's in Busia. He's supposed to
You called him. Did you bring anything to my notice? I told you let people not fill that place. They filled it.
Which one?
That place near the water, the water supply.
We stopped them from filling that place.
That's
why they stopped construction. Yes.
Did you? Did you stop them?
We did. We did. I even wrote a letter to them.
Please,
for me, wrote a letter.
I don't want those tricks of civil servants trying to play around with the natural resources and with the public property. You want to tell me somebody can begin filling materials up with this nature when you are not aware, a town clerk?
Rhoda,
even you are telling me that he's the one working on this road. Did he work on this road without your knowledge?
We have no idea. We have no idea. We really have no idea.
You are self who told me that the man pouring marram here is the one working on this road.
It's what I heard. I've not given any permission. You can't check that.
If you didn't monitor this, you will need to record a statement at police. Why you are letting people to do this under your knowledge?
They wanted for something. They were doing the same.
Can you show me the permission you gave him?
Maybe we can go to office.
No, bring it to my office. I cannot go to your office. And stop giving permission without our offices knowing. This is not your personal property.
No, this is a road.
If this road here, when there is an activity going to be done on it, it needs to also come to my attention so that he can get get a way of bringing materials here. As he reached the school.
Establish whether it is this or this, but for us the
Let
permission we gave was
let us go
the contract of the other side.
Not let us go to the school and find out from the school. Now, she also doesn't have it. So when I come here to monitor, what yardstick do I use? Please sit. Stop that doing things in an awkward manner. If you are involved with the community, by now for me I will be interacting with the community to tell me where the project has reached. But the community doesn't know. Even the head teacher doesn't know what is being done here, apart from seeing some concrete poles erected here with the Akawa mesh on it. How much is it costing?
It's costing
39 million sheets. And what's the progress now? Because I don't see anyone working now. Is it complete?
It is a two-phase project, like Gangama. It is a two-phase project because the available resources were not enough to finish the whole project, so we always phase them twice like Gangama.
So this phase
first
where?
Phase, the pouring and chain linking this side, because the first land was we thought the school land was small, but when we came to take measurements, the land was bigger, so we phased it twice. So the next phase is the other side plus again.
Head teacher, from now on, do not accept any human being to carry out activity here in the name of implementing the government policy when you don't have the specifics of what is undertaken here in a book. like this one. The engineer should come here, this town clerk and his group should come here with these politicians. They tell you we are going to do chain link here, we are going to use these poles, this is the quantity, this is the quality, this is the size. So that when you are monitoring, you look at these specifications. But people may have brought here to put some few concrete poles here, then they sign off the money for you don't know even what they sign, and you end up losing it. You see? Now, if you don't have a PhD, whom should I now question? Let us look at where he told them to stop, and you are the one. Have done. It's me, the last person to qualify that this is a project worth paying. It's a directive from the president, not myself. You see, I can read you the letter. It is not. This is how you dodgers. We end up coming into do post-mortem when the projects have not been done what? Performed well. RDC or any other political leader invited by his or her office, signed by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda. I'm not doing this because first of all, I'm not doing this because I want to do it. I'm doing it because it's the for the President. And this is how we account for the money, and this is how we find out that people have done good works. You see? You invite Wananchi. Do you see how the President put it in a local language that Wananchi should be here when we are launching this project? You see? And he says, likewise, no handover of the same project should be done without the RDC, in this case me, RCC now, certifying it. Now who certified this for you to pay the money out? Should I say now you have defied the directive of the President?
Of course, no.
Because investigation is in this project. This morning, that there was development going on in a wetland opposite IUIU University. So I took time to get the environment officer and the town clerk Northern to go there and see exactly what was going on the ground. When I reached there, it was true, and people had started pouring marram to destroy the wetland there, and then I think eventually carry on some developments there illegally. So when I reached there and found that, I tasked the town clerk to explain how a magnitude of such development could take place without his knowledge. But again, he considered that he's in touch with the person trying to develop there. I asked him, under what circumstances and under what legal framework? He had no answer. To make matters worse, he had authorized the very developer there to pour marram, to pour marram on a road accessing the school, the Nkoma Primary School. While giving that permission, he was helping this developer who is going to tamper with the wetland to have their trucks access the dumping site where they want to destroy the wetland easily. And I found that very, very clear. When I moved to the school, I found they made a chain link fence on the school, half of it. But to ask him when did the project commence and whether he has paid, he told me it commenced and we have paid. And all this was done without informing my office, which is charged with the launching and commissioning of the projects. Although I had gone there and found those developments, and that is why I made sure I reached there with him to actually task him how such developments can go on without notifying us. Secondly, even in the community itself, there is no trace of whether the community was also involved in the launch and or they had formed a community committee called the Project Management Committee to oversee the works. It was not there, including the head teacher of school had no knowledge of even what the OBOQ was saying. So I found that very clear. And this is not the first thing. Martin Busiku on several cases has actually acted in a manner that doesn't befit the status of an assistant town clerk in charge of a division like a Northern. I found when Martin Busiku was one of the encroachers on the road reserves. He had built a butchers along the road, which is illegal. Those road reserves are preserved, and there is nobody accepted to carry on any development except with the express permission of UNRA and Ministry of Works. He went ahead to fail elections in Kikindu Market, where he found for over 10 years elections in the market had not been carried out. I only discovered that they didn't want to realign the leadership in the city because they were benefiting in collecting funds and sharing them without remitting them to the treasury. Even as I talk now, Northern Division doesn't have a budget. I put to them on Friday when there was a handover of the outgoing town clerk, David Chasanku, and the incoming Ochen Ambrose, that by today or tomorrow, I want an explanation from the town clerk on why he could not facilitate the budget to be passed in the normal specified time. Budgets of local governments are supposed to be passed in May. Central government passes its budget in June. But if we are now coming into August and there is no budget for Northern Division, how are they going to carry out developments and implementation of government projects? So I found this queer, and I, as a measure, I've asked him first of all to give me to explain as to why he allowed such developments to carry on illegally, to be carried on illegally. Secondly, he should bring a copy of a BOQ of that project to enable my team to carry out investigations on where the value for money was achieved in the fencing part of that school, so that we do what? We make sure that all what is done within the framework of the law, but also stakeholders involved in such activities. When I asked him whether the community is aware that such a project was undertaken, he could not tell, and there was no trace. Even the head teacher of the school did not even know how the BOQ was looking, so which means monitoring there on the part of the school and the community was failed. Although for me, I went there, and that is the reason why I tasked him to go there with me, so that he answer some questions, begin answering some questions. That's why I'm asking. I've asked him to ensure that he reports to police and make a statement on allowing illegal development in a wetland, and also failing to pass a budget in a normal time.
My name is Mbale-Soroti Martin. I'm serving as the Division Town Clerk, Northern City Division. However, we have established that there is a gentleman who has dropped some materials, some marram on a wetland near IUIU, which issue I think we have swung in action with the GISO. We want to get details, and we have summoned that person to appear in office, and we serve him a letter to ensure that all those materials are removed from where they are. We have seen there is a small signpost of land for sale. That place is a wetland, and we all condemn the dumping of marram in that area. So we are going to swing into action. Actually, the gentleman is in Busia, the information that we got, and we have agreed with the environment officer to ensure that that place is free of any encumbrances.
The RCC claims you're part of the issue. You may be part of the connivance. Can you clarify on that?
There is no connivance because there is no allocation of land which has taken place. If the land had been allocated, but that is it's a wetland, And if there was connivance, then we would not have swung in action to write a letter to that person to ensure that they were removed. We are free and clean. We duly condemn disposal of marram on wetlands. The material, the marram has to be removed. Okay? Because reclaiming the wetland is not allowed here in the city. That place has to be preserved. We're in touch with the environment officer. Actually, we are following up. We are having a meeting with the environment officer and the other technical staff to ensure that that place is clean. We don't want any materials there.
Okay.
No, that is air. If somebody has bought a wetland, that is air. We don't expect any other activities to take place in that area.